Hello everybody. In this video, I'll be trying to restore these Red Wing 8146 Roughnecks, and I picked it up on eBay for a very affordable price. But as you can tell, it is very well used, very pre-loved. But I believe I can bring a lot of life back into these shoes and make it so they're a little bit more presentable to take them out. The first thing that we gotta do is just do a very general brushing of the shoe, and essentially you're just trying to get any dirt or dry particulates off of the shoe. Because if you're to soap or shampoo a shoe that has those dirt particles, you'll essentially grind them into the leather if you were to try to, brush it with a wet horsehair brush. So just a very quick general brush down will be the first step of this process. As you can tell by the pair of shoes on the left of the screen, those are relatively new Roughnecks. I have a couple pairs because they are indeed my favorite shoe of Red Wing. The lug outsole is kind of the big motivator in that choice, but it's a really good comparison to see how far gone as far as how much color and material loss has happened in these really well-used pair of shoes. And what happens for a lot of Red Wings that you see on the secondary market is the front of the shoe has the most wear. And you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, obviously, I mean, any other shoe, regardless if it's sneaker or boot, will probably present more wear on the toe. But if you're a person wearing boots, many of the times you're going to be using your boots in your professional life. And if you're in a trade craft where you're kneeling all day long, that's where you start wearing down, like the mock seam on the front of this, and where a lot of the material is lost and the color is lost. The next step of the process is using saddle soap to clean the leather of the shoe. Using the top part of the saddle soap tin, a little bit of water, in a horsehair dauber brush covered with saddle soap, swirl it around in the tin to create a foam, and then apply that foam to a small area of the boot. Have some paper towels or rags on standby because you want to be able to quickly wipe away water and soap before it soaks into the leather. That's why working in small patches is better. As you can tell from the paper towel, it's a pretty dirty boot. And if your boot is really dirty or even dirtier than mine, maybe a couple applications of saddle soap could be necessary to get it very clean. If your boot has white stitching like these do, make sure you're concentrating your horsehair brushing on those areas because it actually is recoverable in the sense that the threading is very resilient and you can bring that white color back pretty easily. I get asked a lot if you can clean the inside of the leather boot, and the quick answer is 100% yes. I do it all the time. I don't really show it in the video. Usually what happens is I just use the same saddle soap and horsehair brush and just scrub the inside of the boot. It is a little bit harder to clean just because the constrained working area. Sometimes I would actually just use a gloved hand and put saddle soap and water on my hand and kind of just generally massage it into the rough out. If it's smooth leather lined inside, that's much easier because the rough out leathers that actually absorb water much faster. And it can kind of be hard to work up a lather on rough out unless it's really wet. So kind of keep that in mind that it could take a lot of water and a lot more drying time. But if the shoe smells a little bit, it might be the only way to get it to the point where you feel comfortable wearing it. And you can see both boots now for comparison. One of them is looking a little bit more true to its color, but it's also just because it's a little bit more wet. But I think it is generally much, much cleaner. It is presenting much better already. So the next step is going to be just letting the boot dry completely. This could be a couple hours, maybe an afternoon. Putting it out in the sun will make it much faster. Using a hair dryer can accelerate that as well. Now we want to prep our boot for conditioning and recoloring. To reshape the toe, it's pretty important for this particular pair of boots because the previous owner's foot shape actually kind of distended the toe stiffener. And you can see that in that light patch here on the left side of that boot. I want to, number one, bring the height back to the mock toe apron. So I'm stuffing just some paper into the toe and then kind of shaping it with my hand to smoothen out the toe stiffener. If your toe stiffener or any part of the boot is deformed like this, you'll find that a hair dryer and a little bit of massaging can reset the shape a little bit. And knowing that we're going to be using colored shoe cream as part of the restoration effort in this shoe, I want to cover all the white stitching with masking tape, or you can use painter's tape if you have that handy, so I don't have to worry about trying to remove color from the white stitching that we just made white. So using that tape, I had a spare train card from Japan to push it into the crevices of the welt area, cover all the stitching, or do the best you can with tape. If you don't happen to have any paper lying around, you can use a shoe tree to give some shape to the toe. But I found that it's too universal, it's too generic, and certain boots just you wouldn't be able to get the shape back unless you're to use something more, moldable like paper. When it comes to the mock toe stitching, I'm doing a pretty crude job here to cover it, but really any way to prevent coloring from being applied to the stitching will save you so much time in the future if you wanted to bring that white color back. The materials we need for these next steps are going to be Bick 4 leather conditioner, which would be up next, and then your shoe cream color of choice. Now, I don't have Briar Slick shoe cream color specifically, but knowing that the original color is to the left of the screen, you can see it has kind of a red burgundy type of color. And I just happen to have burgundy shoe cream, but I didn't want it to be super red. So I also am using some medium brown shoe cream and mixing them to a ratio of about 2-to-1. So it's mostly red with a little bit of brown undertones that would control it from being a little bit out of whack from the original. So I'm being very liberal with the Bick 4 leather conditioner here just because the boot is very, very dry from its use and from us using saddle soap to clean it. And so I felt it very appropriate to put as much conditioning back into the shoe as possible. Moving on to the shoe cream, I'll be using 2 plastic spoons to mix 2 parts burgundy to 1 part brown in a paper cup. And I'm using 2 spoons because I don't want to cross-contaminate by double dipping into the shoe creams. This is the end result after mixing. It's a little bit red still, but as you can tell by the pair of shoes on the left-hand side of the screen, 8146 Briar Slick is a little bit red. I'll be using a gloved hand to apply the shoe cream to the boot. There's so much more control I feel this way instead of using a rag or other type of applicators. Also, you just throw it away after you're done. You don't have to worry about cleaning a bunch of cloth rags and trying to get all the stains out of them. The tape is coming in real handy now because I can kind of move my hand really freely across the boot without having to worry about trying to not hit the threads or the stitching. You're also seeing that the coloring is red, maybe more red than you might have expected, but just know that 80% of the color of shoe cream is usually removed during the brushing. It is not 100% effective. I'll be covering the whole boot with the shoe cream except for the tongue. Not only does it add color, but it adds a little bit of water resistance too, so it doesn't hurt to cover a lot of the boot with shoe cream instead of having to use a separate type of polish or anything like that. I don't really put shoe cream on the tongue unless the color loss is considerable, just because usually the wax will just kind of crack on the tongue because it's so flexible. Now we're just going to have to wait maybe 15-20 minutes for the shoe cream to dry. After that, we'll use a horsehair brush and start bringing out the shine and removing the excess from the shoe. I like to use a couple brushes just because, like I said, a lot of the shoe cream comes off with the brushing and it builds up a lot on the brush should there be a lot of brushing and a lot of shoe area that you need to polish. And so having a couple just saves time. Technique-wise, when it comes to brushing, think about being as fast as possible with very slight pressure. Don't push the bristles of the brush into the leather. We're just basically skirting across the surface trying to create a shine. The shine is developing now, as you can see. And by comparing the boot in hand now to the one that's in the background, which is the other part of the pair, life has definitely been brought back to the boot with the combination of the shoe cream and the conditioner. Having multiple brushes is going to make this process much quicker just because you won't have to clean a brush and wait for it to dry after it builds up a lot of shoe cream on it and maybe you haven't finished all the brushing and polishing. If there's areas on your boot that have white stitching and you weren't able to cover them with any tape, just try to control your brushing direction so you don't actually move the bristles over the white area unnecessarily so, because like I mentioned before, the shoe cream will build up on the bristles of the brush and it can definitely color any stitching that it runs across. So essentially, this is the end product. Once we remove the tape and put the laces back in, it's good to go. I really like the outcome. The color looks tremendous in comparison to the new set of roughnecks off to the left-hand side of the screen. And you can always look into the background of the video and see what the other boot of the pair looks like. It's not necessarily factory fresh, but it really, really looks very presentable. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy with this. So for a direct comparison, here's both boots of the pair. And you can see we've come a long way with just a couple minutes in what was really very minimal amount of materials to bring back so much life and vibrance and color into these old boots. A lot of people have told me they never really wanted to give heritage boots a try just because they're so expensive. And so if you have the opportunity to buy a pair of old used boots on eBay or you ran across them at Goodwill, just know that with a little bit of time and really just a couple bucks, you can bring back a boot from the dead and you can enjoy what would be a $330 pair of heritage boots for a fraction of the cost. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you join me on the next one.